if we go to the root of it, kind of like a government failure issue versus, okay, it's just the SEC, it's just lack of resources, lack of education, or I don't know, or lack of working with the industry closely. I don't know, but it seems like there's a layer to it that's about that.
Well, one of the things too that crypto, and I think the crypto community is kind of getting the hang of this now, is the SEC has been very tightly connected to the securities industry. Mm-hmm. And, there are people from JP Morgan Chase and UBS and Citibank in their offices all the time. There are trade associations that are in the SEC's offices all the time, telling the SEC what they want, explaining to the SEC what they are doing. Mm-hmm. So they are very closely aligned. And that's not to say the SEC doesn't bring enforcement actions against them, but there's a real presence there.
Yeah.
That did not happen with crypto because of its genesis. It kind of bubbled up from the ground. It was a grassroots sort of thing. And that meant that you had lots of people in the industry, in the securities industry, like Jamie Dimon, who bashed crypto before he adopted it. Yep. And you have a bunch of lawyers, and I'm a lawyer, I will admit, we tend to be very backward looking. We're not in the vanguard in terms of innovation and all that, because we're always looking at precedent, and we want to say, well, how does this fit in with the past? And if you're on the business end, like from my business school days, business school people are like, who cares what the old law is? I care about doing something new, and, innovating. And so there's this clash there too.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about how this impacts Web 3.0 and specifically blockchain technology. And I want to start by saying I'm also on the board of Ripple, which is XRP, cryptocurrency. But I want to make something very, very clear. Blockchain is here to stay. The train has left the station. You're going to hear me quoted about that all the time. As far as I'm concerned, whether it's fractional real estate, whether it's art, whether it's NFTs, blockchain is not going away. And so the question is, how do we take advantage of this? So it's important to recognize, again, how the financial and investment landscape has changed specific to blockchain technology. You might have seen recently how President Biden has signed an executive order earlier this year to study digital assets over this next year. Now, I was honored to also be part of President Biden's Treasury Transition Team. In fact, I'm the only person in the world who's been on Obama's Treasury Transition Team, both terms of the Obama administration, and most recently, President Biden's Treasury Transition Team. I consider that a huge honor that I can serve my country in that way. So when President Biden signed this executive order to look at digital assets, we hope that the recommendations are going to accomplish several things. One, to encourage regulators to ensure sufficient oversight, to encourage the Financial Stability Oversight Council to identify and mitigate financial risks, to direct coordinated actions across agencies to mitigate illicit financing and national security risks, promote safe and affordable financial services, and finally, but not the last thing surely, to explore a U.S. central bank digital currency.
The other thing that people need to realize is that the library attorney, he did not contest the first two prongs of the Howey test. Howey has 3 prongs, and the third prong is a 2-part test, or 2-prong element prong. And library's attorney, mistakenly, in my opinion, he didn't contest the first factor, which is an investment, and he didn't contest a common enterprise. And in the Ripple case, Ripple and XRP holders are all contesting. We're contesting every single factor. And the common enterprise is the weakest that the SEC has. And so I know a lot of people are out there on crypto Twitter, and there's even lawyers out there saying, oh, this is a death blow to crypto. It's one freaking judge in New Hampshire, and Judge Torres, who is the judge in the Ripple case, she doesn't have to even read this opinion. All right. And she could rip it up. She could read it. She could say, oh, he makes a good point. Or she could read it and say, this guy makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not even going to finish reading it. That's what it had. That's the kind of impact that it may or may not have. And so people need to realize that. But comparing the library case to the Ripple case, if you do that and you're an XRP holder, you'll get worried. And I'm telling you not to be worried, because it's apples to oranges. It really is, between the tokens.
What's up, guys? Today is yet another day in the crypto world, and everything is on the red side. Most, if not all, of the bearish market trends are related to FTX's acquisition by Binance. That's really spooked a lot of people, since there's so much conspiracy surrounding the story. Seems Binance's CEO intentionally caused everyone to withdraw their funds from FTX, which confirmed the story that the company doesn't have enough liquidity. Several withdrawals were halted, and eventually Binance took over. If asked, do you think that that's a good thing for the market? Or will this cause an irreversible bearish trend that will later lead to the collapse of all cryptos? Anyway, there's still a lot to talk about today, and we've got some good news for the XRP army. But before we get to that, let's roll that beautiful intro. As always, welcome back to Money Side, your favorite crypto channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you get updates when we drop new videos. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, according to John Deaton, we shouldn't worry about the SEC because it's a definite win. Well, I can agree with that. Right now is the most unpredictable time in the crypto world. The merge between FTX and Binance, which are the two largest crypto exchanges, could result in an extremely volatile market. In turn, if you don't do your research correctly, you could potentially lose a huge chunk of your capital. So now is the right time to research and back-check your portfolio to ensure your cryptos can withstand the coming storm. Also, you can trade up your cryptos and invest in a more solid crypto, namely XRP. This tweet here says it all. Michael tweets, if you'd asked me, I'm done with these things in hashtag crypto. Firstly, we got Luna, Celsius, and now big ball play between FTX and Binance killing the markets. And if you are not careful, the storm that's about to hit the crypto market will take you out. Michael is actually saying the truth. Crypto isn't for the weak, and if you don't invest wisely, you will lose. In other news, Ripple now is partnered with Prop Home, which could revolutionize real estate for the better. Now, guys, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Ripple is about to change the world as we know it. Now is the perfect time to jump on this ship before it goes straight to the moon. And we all hope for Bitcoin to reverse and go higher. But as things stand, I really don't think that this crypto king will be back on its high horse anytime soon. Like I've said many times before in my previous videos, it's time for a new, robust, with better usability crypto king. And from my standing, XRP fits that crown. If you have any other suggestions other than XRP, well, please share it with us in the comments section below and tell us why you think that specific crypto has a brighter future. To my XRP gang, keep holding on for dear life, because we are about to become the next crypto millionaires.
No matter how the SEC wants to spin the facts, the reality is, to have a contract, you have two parties have to agree on something. You don't necessarily have it written. You can have oral contracts, you can have implicit contracts, but you have to have two parties. The reality is there are not two parties. Ripple doesn't know who bought the XRP. The people who bought the XRP don't necessarily know Ripple. You have to remember that 99.9% of XRP trading has nothing to do with Ripple, the company. So when you talk about, okay, XRP is a security, I go back to something I said years ago when this started. A security of what company? Of what, like, who is the owner? So I think it's very clear there is no investment contract. If you get past the investment contract, which I think is hard, across the Howey test, you also don't have, you have to meet all three prongs. And in the case of the XRP case, you can't meet all three prongs for sure. And so we think that the judge will see that the law is very clear. We think the facts are very clear. And we think this is just a gross overreach of the SEC trying to wrest control of that uncertainty that has existed. And Really, the unfortunate thing is the SEC and really the U.S. government hasn't taken this step to provide that clarity that a lot of other countries around the world have.
I think there's a high risk that, well, certainly when you say most, meaning more than 50%, I think there's a high risk that most of this fails.
Now, how many fiat currencies in the world are there? About 180?
Look, there is clearly examples where these can be used. What Ripple is doing with our digital asset that we use in our technology stack called XRP is solving a cross-border payments problem. And that cross-border payments problem we all have experienced. When you're moving money cross borders, it is slow and it is typically expensive. There's no reason we can't use these technologies to solve that problem.
I hear you. And do you know what? I think more regulation, better, then we can all know what we're trading with. Why don't you want more regulation on XRP? Why are you in a big fight with SEC's Gary Gensler that's just going on and on?
Well, it is going on. That's frustrating. Gary Gensler was quoted as saying that justice delayed is justice denied, yet at every turn the SEC has been slowing this one down. Look, we were the ones advocating for years that we needed regulatory clarity in the United States. And then for the SEC to say, hey, even though it's not clear, we're going to bring a civil lawsuit saying that XRP is a security, we find to be a bit ironic. I'm actually advocating for regulatory clarity. I've been
not for XRP to be a security.
I think most crypto assets are not securities, and I think they are clearly commodities, and they are regulated. I mean, when people say, as Gary Gensler has said, this is the Wild West, that is not true. We're a regulated company by many different regulatory bodies today. And outside the United States, you have the regulatory clarity.
As always, do your own research and always trade safely, guys. Please keep in mind we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. You can always let us know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have a conversation. Thank you so very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.